Ezekiel and Carol come up with an imaginative solution in dealing with a new threat to the kingdom, while Daryl and Connie show just how well they work together as they set a trap for Beta and the Whisperers. It's The Walking Dead, Season 9, Episode 13. Chokepoint. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Walking Dead. So yes, of course, spoilers. Alright, well, another good episode this week, I thought. Really loving Daryl and Connie together. I think they make quite an item, personally. Really enjoying their interaction. Love Beta in this episode. Such a frightening individual. And even the whole thing with the highwaymen I thought was quite well done. Some unexpected moments and twists. Some little rah moments. So overall I think the pacing was really well this episode. I enjoyed all of the moments. The few bits where I was like, I don't know if that's a mistake. And then it turns out being, well, yeah, it is. They're expecting that. So I think the episode worked really well. The back half of this season, really, so much better than the first half. First half was nice, and we did have Rick, which is cool. But I think they'd spent too much time trying to set up his departure, and I think some storytelling was sacrificed. So far, this back half of the season, I think, really has been doing very well. A little middle of the road episode last week, true, but I think overall, they've been doing a great job. Anyway, let me start off actually with the setup for the episode, because I wanted to sort of touch on that. I think it set up our interactions and our character bits, I think, super well. First off, we're continuing right off from last week. We have Daryl and Henry and Connie and Lydia running through the forest, getting away from the Whisperers, and kind of having a moment to rethink what their whole plan is. I sort of love it. Should we send her back? Do we need to go? The dangers, what's happening? The kind of constant idea that they're dealing with, the fact that they can't go back to Hilltop, I thought was a really interesting point that they hammered in quickly, which was good. I think that would have been a debate. If that point was debated for too long, I think that things would have dragged out. But the fact that Daryl sees immediately, look, we can't go back. We broke an agreement. Or Henry did, and of course we had to go back and get Henry. We couldn't leave him alone, so we're all kind of on our own. We can't go back to Hilltop. We can't go back to our people. That would endanger them. I think was great to sort of set up, because it does put the motivation for this small group in very clear focus. And the constant debate that we have going on about Lydia, that Connie is really so much looking to protect Lydia, Daryl more ready to cut her loose, which is an interesting reversal considering that he was so intent on holding on to her initially. Also upset, you didn't tell us there were so many of them. You lied, so we've got our data, we've got our little battle back and forth of who's telling too much truth, but, Lydia's a wounded animal. I think that it's been played off very well how she didn't trust Daryl and then started to, and then thought that she could go back, and then basically looked around. And I think they handled that well last episode too, of looking around as people are in the dirt and covered in faces of the dead, pulling out worms to survive. That, Hillside, even the jail at Hillside is a lot better than being with the Whisperers. So I love that whole setup. I think it gave the energy and mixed motivations and everything for everyone, and potential conflict very straight off right at the beginning of the episode. And then we had that great scene with Beta, who is portrayed as the badass warrior, and that's what you're expecting, the killer, the hard ass. But a very emotional scene, kind of, with the dying Whisperer. It was talking about, I'm going to join them, I'm going to become one of them. We travel with the dead, now we get to be, or the Guardians as they call them. And Beta's response is like, you may become one of them, but you will always be one of us. That is a level of community I was not expecting from Beta, of how protective he is of his people and how inclusive that they are, even of death, that they will be one of us. I thought that was a great way of sort of setting up the strength of Beta, the fact how scary he really is and imposing, but also his belief in the community that he serves. And that's sort of what we're dealing with, is a lot of people trying to protect the communities that they serve. So not quite villainous, antagonistic, they're working against the group, but not necessarily villainous, which I like. Now, of course, in the midst of all of this, the kingdom is setting up for the fair. The fair, they keep hitting on this fair. We really need to get this thing started. But one of the complications with the fair is the highwaymen, who have taken control of the roads around the kingdom. And if anybody wants to come to the fair, they must pay a toll. Yeah, real surprising to see Jerry and everyone without their armor on. Kind of a perfect, unexpected setup for this new conflict. Now, the one thing is the symbol, little A with a cross. We'd seen it before when they went to get the whole movie bulbs and everything, and that was on the back of the sign. I thought that might have been something for the Whispers, that might have been Alpha's sign as a lay of claim of territory. Obviously very wrong. It comes from the highwaymen. The highwaymen, who know that if you're going to leave a blackmail demand, it's best to do so grammatically correct. I loved how that was sort of hit on, and how that was such a distinction from the Saviors. No, it can't be Jed's group. They wouldn't write, let alone a grammatically correct, it's not really a ransom demand because they don't have anything. It's a threat. It's not really blackmail anyway. Anyway, doesn't matter what the particular crime of that is. They've got control of the roads, and of course, Carol, Ezekiel, and the rest of the Kingdom Fighters have to go wrestle control of that back. And I gotta say, so many unexpected moments with that encounter. It is why it's our Scene of the Week for this week. Look, there were a lot of other great sections that were going on in this episode, but this is one contained scene that was just so unexpectedly done. And so well done. I thought that it was just awesome. So we of course have Carol saying we should go in and try and talk with them, do things a little bit differently. We've got Ezekiel as like, used to be battle was the only language people understand, and now it still seems to be the only language people understand. So great king and queen discussion going on there. But when they go into the warehouse, we first get a good look inside this warehouse. Very well stocked. Highwaymen have been busy. They have collected a lot of things. So, yes, has had some successful highway robbery going on here. But the whole encounter, I thought, was just awesome. One, of course, the shadowy room, the mannequins, away to held our highwayman, Angus Sampson. He's an Australian actor. He was in Night Flyers. He played the psychotic doctor, if you guys saw that on Sci-Fi Channel. And in this, he's popped up in a lot of things. He was in Mad Max Fury Road, a bunch of different stuff. So, great actor. It took me a little while to sort of place where I had seen him before, but I loved how it was handled. In some ways, it actually reminded me a lot of the Whispers, how they hid amongst the dead. Here we have the highwaymen hiding amongst the mannequins in the shadows, and I thought they just gave a great reveal. You thought you have one person, and then from these mannequins, all these other people step out, an imposing force, and that gives our great back and forth between Ezekiel and Carol and the head of our highwayman. I don't think they've actually gotten his name yet. Highwayman leader, we'll call him for now. Anyway, just, again, great stuff, because we're not going to pay this. We can't pay this. Well, what if we take you? Well, no, we can't do that. And then the warriors come in and they take over the rest of the highwaymen. And then it's back to an offer of, we'll give you a job. You were going to guard the highway. You're going to extract a toll from the highway. Now we actually want you to guard the highway for us. That was not where I was expecting it to go. And then the offer of, what do you get for this? Well, you have access to the kingdom and the fair. Why? You have all this stuff to trade. What's the point of stealing stuff if you can't trade it for the things that you need? That's a very good point. It's a very smart point. And then when they still push, it's got to be more than this. Oh, and I love Jerry, of course, asking for it. He wants his sword back. Sure, of course, it's a beautiful weapon. But when they ask more, the Carol comes up again. Just the brilliance of it. When was the last time you guys saw a movie? Seriously? You'd see the look of disbelief, and you always wonder that seriously, like, is that a serious offer you're offering, or seriously, you have movies? That is the power of cinema, folks. This is why it is such an amazing medium, because after 10 years of Walker apocalypse, that someone can throw a movie on, I don't care what movie it is at that point, it's gonna be awesome. Though if they have an original cut of Star Wars, that would be the best. Not only does Han shoot first, he's the only one who shoots. And of course, they delay a little bit to let us know, do the Highwaymen actually accept this offer or not? And again, the reveal was also a beautifully done bit. Care of Tara and Company. And Nico and Magda and everyone else, and Earl and his wife and the baby, dealing with what I thought was going to be an ambush. Didn't know if it was by the Whisperers, felt maybe a bit the Highwaymen if they were saying that the roads to the kingdom were guarded. So I think they had done this well, setting this up a little earlier in the episode to make us think, right after they talk about the Highwaymen and that there's people guarding the roads, is that we see this roadblock. It looks like the perfect point for an ambush. Seems like it could just be a tree falling. Also, again, perfect ambush point. So again, a nicely set up sequence, and this was all done very well. I love the character work back and forth. I love the new group talking about what they're talking with Tara is, what about, worried about Connie? Oh, she'll be all right, she's with Daryl. And they're turning around back. What are you talking about? Daryl will be all right because he's with Connie. They're both right, actually, in this sense. But I thought, again, it was a good bit. It was a great setup. We had the Walker attack. I thought that was beautifully handled. The little baby protect bit, the chest with the holes popped in it so they can put the baby in and close it up so the walkers can't get. That's smart. Unexpected. Because you got to have your hands free with the walkers attack. You don't want to be holding a baby and dealing with walkers. Too easy to lose a baby or yourself. So I thought that was smart. Also, love that Earl's wife giving him the backup. Ruthie's just jumping right there and stabbing the walkers. All wonderfully done. But of course, ultimately, we get the Highwaymen riding up on horses, jumping up. Hi, we're your escorts to the kingdom. They definitely went for the movie deal. That's what that told us. But beautifully done. And again, just a cheering moment. And look, I may be wrong, and maybe it's just the surprise fascination that Tara had from the reaction. But was she giving Angus there a little bit of the eyes? I know, she's a lesbian. She's got girls. Guys don't interest her. But just I wasn't sure with that pause what was going on. It was definitely some fascination going on there. Not sure to what point. If it was just fascinating that you arrived out of nowhere to save us and we have no idea who you are, or what. Anyway, I thought that was sort of an interesting visual exchange. But, of course, really the main focus of the action for this week is the whole tower fight, which was just marvelously done. I mean, the fact that that Connie had the idea at the beginning and is like, Daryl's trying to go one way and Connie's trying to go another, And everyone follows Connie. Even Dog follows Connie and leaves Daryl behind. I thought that was awesome. It definitely shows the trust that the group has and that Daryl should have in with Connie. And we get a lot of great back and forth between the two of them. I love the fact that this is a stash house for the other group. And they've been hiding stuff here and supplies, and they've already barricaded things up. It's already preset, a perfect choke point. Where, if you guys are not familiar with what a choke point is, it's a filter. Basically, it's where you get a large group to focus down into a very small area so you can pick them off. Canyons, things like that, where people have to go in single file line. A small group can deal with a larger group very effectively that way. Here, of course, we're dealing with choke points that are filtering out the walkers from the whisperers. Barricades that walkers can't climb over. Walkers can't climb. The dead can't climb. They don't have that coordination level. But humans can. I love that Beta picked that up immediately, too. You know, this is a trap. Still has to go up. He's still going after Lydia, which I have to give him kudos for. But the fact that he was recognizing this immediately was awesome. Oh, also, even getting up to the building, first off, we have the guy that dies in the beginning, who has now become a walker. He's the one that's taken out by Daryl's arrow. I don't know if that sort of drives Beta a little bit more. But did it seem to anyone else that Beta has a bit of a pimp walk? As he is shuffling with the dead, he's just sort of leaning back and looking all badassery in there. I mean, as much as he can as one of the dead. Did think as he looked down and then looked back up that maybe Daryl up there keeping an eye on everything might have been able to pick him out. The dead don't look around. But no, we had reserved their fight for later on. But yeah, and then overall getting the Whisperers up and then we having our bit of a battle. I thought that was awesome. Very well done. Surprising that Daryl hiding out Lydia. Leaving Dog with her. Protection. Wasn't just locking her away. Wasn't just forgetting about her. Pretty much agreeing eventually with Connie's push that she's got to stay with us. Yes, we may lose part of our family, but she doesn't have a family to lose anymore. Again, great point, counterpoint. Nice quiet moments with Henry and Lydia there. Little romanticism. Why are you actually doing it? You know, because I like you, you know. Of course, you know, there's a little young love action happening. Something Lydia, that type of actual affection, completely not used to. Maybe has seen it through some other couples in the Whispers, but hasn't really felt it herself. So, again, nice. And that Daryl is seeing the sort of humanity with Lydia and that Henry is willing to just go and run to protect her. And that is something that Daryl himself would do. So that was all great. Fight scenes I thought were beautifully done. Well done. Interesting. Action-packed. Great final fight between Beta and Daryl there. Loved the turnaround. There was one moment there where Beta seemed, where they collided and Beta, I think, threw Daryl down and then went after him, and then the knives that he had, they were gone. And then he was pushing him up against the saw blade and stuff like that. Now, maybe he doesn't want to kill him immediately. He's trying to get location of Lydia, so he needs information from him first. But it did something sort of throw me off in the mid. The two of them are up against knives, and then Daryl gets thrown, and then Beta comes up, and he has no more knives, and he's just picking and fighting. So that moment kind of threw me off. I know you can't kill Daryl. Everyone would riot. We know this. But then a great turnaround using the hidden compartment there to hide behind Beta, have him go up to the other room, and then push him through the elevator shaft there. Just, again, nicely done. Beautiful sequence, spitting on his grave, or what he thinks is his grave. And that's where I had my big question. It was on my notes. His body. We hear stuff we don't see down there. We don't see the body. And you know the one rule, if you don't see a body, people are dead. That's the rule. You always see a body whenever they die. If you don't see a body, they're not dead. And the fact that they picked that up, that we did get that final shot down into the elevator shaft, and of course, then we see Beta but he picks himself up. I don't know what drugs that guy is on or whatever to just not even have broken bones on that. Some ribs at least, man. I mean, there's teeth. We got that great shot. There are definitely teeth missing, which makes him look even scarier. But yeah, I guess he's the new Michael Myers. He's the Halloween of The Walking Dead. And he's dressed like one of the dead, so I guess that kind of works. But really just showing off his badassery and proving, make sure they're dead or they're not. Oh, and Ozzy is the name of the character that Angus Sampson is playing, the lead of the Highwaymen there. So, Ozzy, gotta remember that. And one other thing, just wanted to mention, Lydia saving Henry. I thought that was cool. Again, unexpected. When she sort of panics inside that room and goes for the crowbar, she's hearing the battle, I guess, realizing she doesn't want to lose Henry. They've already had little googly eyes even out there on watch. She's got a little cute stuff back and forth. But maybe realizing that her other family not as intriguing as losing one of them, the Weather Whispers, their people, not as painful as losing Henry, a boy that actually shows care and concern and willing to sacrifice for her. So, yeah, usually once you get out there, you're going to actually cause the danger of the fact that her getting out, release dog, which saved Henry and allowed that rescue there, I thought was nice. It was great to sort of have that moment. I think that reinforced Daryl's decision there even more so, that Lydia stays with us. And there's a whole world out there. They don't need to go back to Hilltop to survive. All right, so I think that's going to go ahead and wrap things up. So yeah, 3 episodes left in this season. Looks like we are heading back to Alexandria. Oddly, looks like that's where Daryl and Connie and Henry and Lydia are heading to Alexandria for help. There's a whole world out there. But let's go back to this one other place that I know. Is that just going to draw the Whisperers out? And really, the main question is, does it even matter where they go? As far as Alpha's concerned, the deal has been broken. Beta was almost killed. Lydia is gone. They're going to blame Hilltop one way or the other. So I don't think necessarily going to Alexandria is going to save Hilltop or the Kingdom or anyone else from the wrath of Alpha. So you know that we've got some big storylines, big action, and big danger coming up on that end. But it also looks like we may finally get a glance back at what the big event was that happened so many years ago that fractured this new community that drove Michonne to cut off Alexandria from everyone else. So it'll be good to get a little history on that. I'm hoping, again, momentum keeps forward. They've been doing a great job so far this season. This back half, please keep it up. But that will wrap us up for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me with this review. And as always, if you enjoyed it, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, toss those right down in the section below. What do you guys think of this episode? Do you like the whole Daryl Connie energy that's going on right there? What about the Highwaymen? Good new introduction, or are things boring you? What do you guys think of the season so far? Let me know. Throw your thoughts down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Quick and easy one-button press catch all these reviews and so many other things coming up soon. And then we'll throw up a couple of our latest reviews right here for you to check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.